Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jesus here with the Van Bros, and today I want to do a video, pretty quick video about just some cautious optimism for Set 12's Gancelot. So I'm not sure when they're gonna reveal Gancelot. Usually, Bushiroad likes to save their hype reveals for like the very end, toward like closer towards the release of the set. I don't know. I feel like if you're running the model where you want to have people pre-order your product because you're not going to print any after the fact, you might want to reveal the hype shit first. Damn the live stream views if you want to, I'd rather get products sold than get views on live streams. But that's just me. But I've been seeing a few people throw around some ideas for what this new Gancelot could be or what it could do. So the text that it shows, or that it showed when they revealed this unit, was that it's a unit that's made to that's supposed to strengthen Royal Paladin decks. What does that tell me? Probably gonna have energy, so it's not usable in premium. So if you had any hopes and dreams of playing Royal Paladin in premium, I mean, those should have already been completely dashed away, or you're just playing Jewel Knights. Those are probably not going to happen. The main thing I've also seen that people have been talking about Gancelot is the fact that it could be a D-Legion with Alfred or Blaster Blade. It's a really cool concept. I don't hate it, but I don't think the deck needs a D-Legion. Right now, D Royal Paladins is kind of having the... It's like Red Eyes. Red Eyes doesn't know what it wants to be. A burn deck, an Xyz deck, a fusion deck, a control deck. Like it doesn't know what it wants to be. And so Konami is just going to keep printing shit to just, because it says Red Eyes, a fucking bunch of millennials are just going to go and buy them. So I feel like this is just, what they've been doing with Royal Paladins lately in D-Series, where Alfred is doing one thing and MLB is already established doing another, and they don't mesh. Something that I realized that I really liked from the original MLB was the fact that if you look at a lot of the deck lists that came out like back in the day, you ran both. MLB and Alfred were both really decent boss units that you could go either or. Like you could go to Alfred to build a field, and it was great because it used 3 counterblasts, which at the time everything was pretty expensive. But MLB didn't. MLB didn't need to have that. They didn't need to use counterblast. It was just off of Blaster Blade and Blaster Dark. So 2 cards that worked really good off of each other, but they just don't translate well in D, because in D you don't have the option to have backup Vanguards or to have a different, like a toolbox. Your deck, which you constructed to kind of like deal with an opponent's like deck, is just it's so limited now because of the ride line. And I love the ride line. I think the ride line is one of the best things that they've added to the game, because missing a ride is probably just... I think it's the worst thing that could happen to you, but it also has made games linear. The fact that Persona Ride punishes you for not riding the same Vanguard unless specified is also pretty limiting, and I think is the reason why most people don't like it as a summoning or as a mechanic for the game. Even imaginary gifts were not that bad, because the grade 3 that you wrote is what generated the gift. Persona Ride, you need to have the same Vanguard written on top of by the same card. It's a limiting thing, and so, hopes and dreams are kind of gone where this is a backup Vanguard, because there's no such thing as a backup Vanguard in Standard. So, what's this gonna do? Well, I am hoping that Gancelot kind of looks back to what the original ones did, and it probably will. Looking at the 2 Gancelots that we have, the same guy, different cards. So if we look at Gancelot, the original one, Counterblast 2, if you have Blaster Blade in the Soul, it gets 5,000 power, so it's a 14k attacker, and an extra critical. Not bad. It has a hand effect where you reveal it to your opponent, put it at the top of the deck, search for a Blaster Blade, and then, you know, reveal it to your opponent, put it in hand, shuffle. The unique part about Gancelot is the fact that it could search out your one-off Blaster Blade because you bought the trial deck, you didn't buy any extras, you're Aichi, you're gonna have your Bunshin, don't worry. But this was kind of like running 5 copies of Blaster Blade if you're not upgrading or updating your trial deck. And it was a decent boss monster because, you know, it's a 14k attacker with a crit. For Counterblast 2, it's an axe skill, but I think the only things that were counterblasting were just units to gain power or Blaster Blade to retire. So, we have Gancelot kind of doing a little bit of both. It's both a toolbox card because it's fetching cards for you. It's a tutor for Blaster Blade. And it's a pretty decent attacker at the time. Then we take a look at the V-Series Gancelot. And V-Series Gancelot has 2 continuous, which is really funny because the original one has 2 axe. This one has 2 continuous. All the Blaster Blades on your Vanguard or Rear Guard get 10,000 power, so it's a 20k attacker, 30k if you have a force marker underneath it. And then another continuous is that the circle that Blaster Blade is standing on becomes a Vanguard circle, and Vanguard abilities are performed, as well as drive checks. So these 2 cards are very different. One creates another Vanguard circle and strengthens Blaster Blade. The other one fetches Blaster Blade and strengthens itself. What would I like to see the new Gancelot do? In my opinion, I would take both of these 2 skills, but I would tweak it. I think Gancelot could be like the Royal Paladin version of Obscudate, where you have him in the back row center, because for whatever fucking reason, and let me just confirm it. Let's see here. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, Alfred, D-Series can't be boosted. So, Gancelot can be behind the rear, or behind the Vanguard, and it wouldn't affect your columns because you already can't boost Alfred. I would want him to have a specific back row center skill where it turns Blaster Blade on your rear circle into a Vanguard. I don't think it needs to have a buff. I don't think you need a buff power Blaster Blade. It'd be nice. I think Royals definitely they wouldn't be shy, or they wouldn't hate getting an extra buff. But being realistic, this deck isn't gonna get crazy amounts of support. It's not gonna be super strong because at the end of the day, it's not in the anime, and Bushiroad just wants to sell anime decks. But I think with the next skill, it would kind of be okay. I want the hand skill, but I want it to be that it can fetch any Royal Paladin unit, or being I don't know. I guess you could also say, or a unit with a clan. I think it would be cool to make Gancelot kind of like a sneak support for other encounter cards or other encounter decks, but I mean, you can limit it to searching Royal Paladins. The reason I think that would work is because you can search out Blaster Blades, so you're playing an extra one. You can search out what's it called? Persona Rides. You can search out other copies of Gancelot just in case. I think those 2 skills would make a pretty decent card, and I would hope that that's what we kind of get. Mainly because I think it would be great to see like both Alfred, Gancelot, and Blaster Blade on the field. You know, the King's right hand man and his left hand man, like they just all together in the field. You don't see that often. So I think that would be really, really cool. Maybe give Blaster Blade power. I don't know. I think but turning Blaster Blade into a Vanguard is power in itself because you also have to drive check. So it's still kind of forcing your opponent to guard. But I don't know. You tell me. I honestly think that these two skills, the two skills that we have here, the hand skill and the turning Blaster Blade into a Vanguard, I think that's what we're gonna get. I think that is what we're gonna get. Or on attack, you know, if it sees Alfred attack, it's just going to counterblast 1 and restand. That's probably what's gonna happen. That's probably what it's gonna be. Energy Blast 3 to restand if it sees Alfred attack.